I give my thoughts on NASCAR Full Speed and charter agreements with teams is going nowhere. Well, welcome back to the Road. Got two big topics I want to cover. NASCAR Full Speed just came out this week. I want to give my instant thoughts, raw thoughts on that show. I thought it was a great show. One of the best documentaries I've seen when it came to really anything sports-wise. Netflix did a great job. And then also, charter talks have gone pretty much nowhere. So I'm looking forward to covering those two things. So let's get into it. So NASCAR Full Speed, it was 5 episodes, 45 minutes. Netflix had full reins pretty much. A little bit of help with NASCAR Productions. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was one of the producers. The featured drivers were William Byron, Kyle Larson, Jordan Logano, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Ty Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin. The way they did the episodes, episode 1 was all about Daytona, the cutoff race leading up to the playoffs. Episode 2 was the round of 16, the playoffs. Episode 3 was the round of 12, the playoffs. Episode 4 was the round of 8 of playoffs. And then the final, 5th episode was all about the championship race for the playoffs. I thought it was really well laid out when it comes to drivers' personalities. Denny Hamlin stole the show. He was raw, authentic, honest. He gave it to you straight, and he definitely gave Netflix the most access out of any other driver. In their homes, into their sim sessions, everything, man. Tons and tons of access. And that really showed, and I think that's what we need. Denny Hamlin's really embracing this role and trying to help grow the sport, and I think he did a great job of that. I mean, you're either going to love him or hate him after this one. And I love Denny Hamlin. I've never hated Denny Hamlin. I think he's great. I think fans just need to suck it up a little more and realize that he is doing a lot of good. But hey, I don't mind. If you either hate or you can either love him. We choose a side. I'm all for it. We need the bad guy in the sport, and it seems like he's embracing the bad guy. He's great. I love him. And then when it comes to William Byron, William Byron was a lot more chill, low key dude, a lot more professional. He's addressing the Hendrick Motorsports team after winning the 300 race for Hendrick, so he's a lot more cut, clean, right, chill dude. Nothing of a massive personality. Bubba Wallace is portrayed. He's chill dude. They did some good raw intros with some drivers, and they had a backstory to them, how they got started up, like a William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney. But some drivers they didn't really have that big backstory. Ross Chastain, they talked about him, blue collar, watermelon farmer. So a lot of drivers had some proper intros and some just didn't. So some they went deep on some drivers' past and some not. So that was different. But I gotta say, when it comes to the teams and the team's access, 2311 gave the most access, and it has to do with Denny Hamlin being the owner. I think 2311 and Denny Hamlin, they look at it as an opportunity to help grow NASCAR, but also opportunity to help get their team recognition and help grow their team's brand, right? You saw a bunch of Michael Jordan. You saw Bubba Wallace's crew chief, Booty Baker, become a star in this thing. It really shows his personality. He was mad at Netflix when they're interviewing him after a bad race at Texas, where Bubba Wallace they would have thought they should have won that race, and he's mad. They got this mic on the camera on him, and they just want him to, get the mic off him, and he just needs to take a break. So that was really cool, and that was the thing. I mean, Hendrick barely showed any inside access to the shop. Penske, barely nothing. Trackhouse, there wasn't really much. They had interviews with Jeff Gordon, Hendrick, Justin Marks, Ty Norris. I didn't even know when they were interviewing Ty Norris, who was the president at Trackhouse. I guess there's a second place trophy. If you finish second in the points, you get a little mini trophy. I never knew that, so that was something new. And then when it came to just these drivers' families, they really dived deep into a lot of that too. The emotions of what their wives, girlfriends, their kids are feeling. They had a full down, sit down, interview with Denny Hamlin's dad, Dennis Hamlin Sr., right? And I guess Michael Jordan gave Denny Hamlin's dad a cigar for hopefully one day when when Denny Hamlin can win a championship, hopefully, that he can break that cigar that's in that glass and they can smoke it and celebrate. And that was a little sad and emotional because you really want that to happen for Denny Hamlin. You want that to be something his dad can cherish. So that was a cool storyline. And they talked to his mom a lot. How they had the fun and they had to do a bunch of different financial stuff that even gave him the opportunity to race. So a lot of these families did a bunch of sacrificing for these drivers to get to where they are. So I thought that was really, really show. Yeah, just the raw emotion The sadness after these drivers, get eliminated. The sadness in their faces, they're crying, they're upset, knowing how much it means to their husbands or their boyfriends of how hard they worked to get to this level. And you just get to see that. I think they did a great job to see the raw emotions of all the people. It was really, really well put together. Well put together. I think they did a great job when they were, trying to break down these like races, and the live audio was really well put together. Some races they would pay attention to a longer time. They would really break down the race, right? And in some races they didn't have as much storylines. They wouldn't really cover as much like live race like footage they were showing, right? They would break down each race and show the key moments of the actual racing, the live audio. So some races they showed a lot of it, and some they didn't. The championship racing, and they showed almost like you got every big part of that race they were covering. So I think they did a great job covering that. And the way they did it was like round by round. If you were, a big part of the round of 16, you had like big moments or lots of drama for yourself, you were going to be covered. So Joey Logano was in the round of 16, Bubba Wallace. They were covering Joey, after he got wrecked at Bristol, he's in his hauler, right? They're covering him and his emotions. He's talking to the Netflix crew, right? Bubba Wallace, you're seeing both sides, a guy who's defeated and a guy who's happy. So you're seeing the sad and the happy, right? Same thing with round 12, and that's in every episode, every round, they're introducing a new driver that had a big factor in that. And then once you were eliminated, you were pretty much no longer seen in the actual Netflix documentary. So that was interesting. I just think they could have done a better job of introducing some of these drivers and not wait until we didn't see Christopher Bell or Kyle Larson until fourth or fifth episode. Kyle Larson considered one of the greatest drivers in the world, and we didn't really know much about him, or new fan wouldn't really know how good he was or this or that about him until episode 5, right? And jumped into these drivers' trainings, what they do. It jumped a little bit into pit stops and how that works, the rules, and the inspection process, the way the playoff system works. So they jumped and they dabbled in a lot of everything. And I think they did a great job. Now, if I were to give this a rating, I would give it like an 8.8. It was really good, but I think the critiques I would give it is they didn't get enough drivers. It would have been nice to see, an interview from covering Mecca McDowell or Ricky Stenhouse from JTG, Doherty, and Front Row Motorsport. Those are smaller teams. It would have been cool to see what it's like in a smaller shop from those drivers who race for smaller teams. Would have been cool, and covering some of those other drivers, because they only cover like half the playoff field, right? And they really only cover the drivers. I guess they only cover the drivers that had were the most affected in the playoffs. But then also, I think they missed out on like Martin Truex, and they missed out on Kyle Busch, because those guys had one of the most eventful playoffs in this past year. So they missed out on a lot of good audio. Martin Truex, he wrecked in like lap 6 at Kansas, and they didn't have any of his what was he feeling after that, right? We didn't hear any audio from that. Kyle Busch wrecked at Texas too, and we didn't hear anything from that. So I think they missed out on that opportunity. And it probably could have been more episodes to kind of let's introduce some of these drivers first, right? You were learning about these drivers on the fly of the actual playoffs, which I don't mind from the first episode. But besides all that, it was a great documentary. It's hard for me to say no or say, oh, this sucked, because I love NASCAR. Anything NASCAR does to help grow the sport, I'm all going to be a fan of. But I thought this was really, really good, and it seems like a lot of other NASCAR fans like it too, which that's really, really good. I hope Netflix values this series. I hope they can bring it back, because I think you don't need to make it a whole full season. We don't need to be Drive to Survive, but a playoff. Every playoffs we document the drivers that are in it. Could be really, really cool. And maybe you don't have to worry about, documenting now. Like next year, you don't have to worry about telling Denny Hamlin's backstory or Ross Chastain's backstory if they make the playoffs, right? So, hopefully there's some new drivers that make it that they can cover, right? So there's a lot of opportunities here, and I hope this, right now, I think it's top 5 and number 5 in Netflix top 10. So I think it's being successful, and I hope this gets good momentum for NASCAR going into the upcoming season. Besides that, I love it. It was great. Great job. Congrats to Netflix. Congrats to NASCAR. So the second topic is NASCAR Charter talks seem to be going nowhere. Cup teams have unanimously agreed to let their charter negotiations period with NASCAR expire without further extension per sources revealing the frustration with the state of talks. This isn't great. This is not great that you got teams are not happy with the NASCAR talks. The negotiations is not going the way that maybe NASCAR wants, or the teams, teams were saying once this media rights deal got done, the talks would go a lot better. It could most likely we could get a deal much sooner because they need to figure out, because then really all the agreement or the deal would all come down to how much media rights money that the teams would get, because the teams really, they want the charter agreement to stay and they want a higher percentage of the media rights revenue. Now, it also seems like that the methodology of the math ain't math right. There's two different offers, and I guess it all goes off of math. It is very, very confusing for me to understand, but this is how it's supposed to be laid out. Methodology number one, NASCAR is offering to increase payout to 42%, up from the current 35%. The second methodology has NASCAR paying teams 39% currently and offering 49% for the next cycle. So one has a 10% increase and the other one has a 7% increase. But the weird thing is, one says that they're paying teams 35% currently and the other one says they're paying teams 39% currently. So I'm not really trying to act like I know what I'm talking about. I know that sounds stupid, but it just doesn't really make sense. You would think they, whatever increase, the biggest increase teams can get is what they want to go for. But it's just really confusing. So it just seems like they just can't make an agreement on what way to go. So this isn't great. This has been an ongoing discussion on whether or not charter agreements should stay. I think Jim France, the chairman of NASCAR, once didn't want them, but now NASCAR wants them, teams want them. It's what guarantees a team on the racetracks, what guarantees a car, right? And let's say something were to happen to your team where you get to shut down, you could sell that charter for a hefty profit, get millions in return for it. We already saw what Spire did. They bought a $40 million charter for a very low tier team. And I guess sponsors are what most of the time are paying for these teams, which makes sense. Sponsors are so important now. And it's not like, without these charters, nothing else is really valuable, cars, parts, pieces, unless you have a charter, because that's what guarantees you a spot. Danny Hamlin, who is co-owner in 2011, owns it on Michael Jordan, he has a podcast called Action Detrimental, and he had some interesting thoughts on how he thought and thinks that charter talks are going.
Certainly, I can't speak for the TNC. They're the ones who have been in the in-depth negotiations and sitting in rooms with, NASCAR for hours on end, right? But here we are in the 11th hour again, right? And, we tried to start these conversations 2 years ago and it's been just delay. And then now here we are, we're at the end of the rope. So it's just an interesting and it's a tough spot to be in. NASCAR just signed this new TV deal, which, it sounds great. Until we know everything about it, we don't really know, how it all flows and everything. So I think, there's certainly some work to be done, right? Do I believe we are closer to a deal now than 12 months ago? I don't think so. I don't think so. Usually always sorts itself out in the end, right? It has historically. So I would see no reason why it wouldn't now. But, it's just been a very, very slow moving turtle to this point.
So some takeaways from that. The TNC is in charge of the negotiations. I'm not sure if that's like the NASCAR Council, the NASCAR Committee for teams. He says, I guess the talks have been going on for over 2 years, and NASCAR keeps delaying this. And now once this TV deal was finally announced, that the negotiations picked up, but he thinks they're in the 11th hour, and that he also said if they're closer to a deal than they were 12 months ago, and he doesn't really think so. That's not great, knowing that they don't really seem they made much progress on these negotiations, agreements, which we already know that they have expired. Teams have unanimously decided to expire talks, but he does, have faith that it will sort itself out. Which I feel like everything does there. I think they will come to an agreement, but I hope that it's both teams and everyone in NASCAR is all getting a fair split. Tracks, teams, and NASCAR. So we'll all see. Definitely going to be it'll be definitely fascinating. This will definitely be a big, big topic going into the season. Whether or not we'll see a deal by midsummer. But in all, it'll be a very fascinating thing to keep up with. So, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let me know what you think about NASCAR Full Speed and the charter agreements. Just try to get some thoughts there. Let me know what you really think. Are you worried about it? Are you frustrated about it? Give me some, give me your opinion on that. Besides that, like and subscribe. The Clash is this weekend. I'll probably have my preview for the Clash. The goal is to have a preview for every race this season, which will, it'll talk about the racing, but also any storylines or any news, that happened during the week before that race that I'll cover. So stay tuned to that. But besides that, guys, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.